Peace and blessings. My name is Ra, and today we in for one. Today we in for some enlightening. You know, it gets dark over here now early, but we still got that sun in the room. We still got that bright, righteous energy in the room right now. We shining right now. I got a brother with me that knows a little bit about a lot. He knows a little bit about marketing, management, entrepreneurship, strategy. See, the tricky thing about a strategy, the tricky thing about laying down a plan is you got to fall into that plan.
Perfect.
We get tempted to say who we want to say and fool who we think we may be fooling. But a strategy plan is everything. And we got a professor here with us. We got Robert Yilson here with us. How you doing today, buddy?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm doing good. How your day been going?
Yeah, it's been pretty busy, but that's the normal life of an academic. So, yeah.
A busy life is a blessed life. I hope your life continues to stay like that, brother. But I want to ask you a couple things, because you've been all around the world.
Yeah.
You've been to some places.
Exactly.
And you live in America, but you're not technically American.
I am American by naturalization. Yeah,
Oh, okay. Yeah. Okay. So where in natural are you from, brother?
Ghana.
How important is your work in Ghana?
Yeah, my work in Ghana is foundational to who I am today. I mean, my organizational leadership, research, and development, I would say, started with all my work in Ghana. I worked for different organizations, but the main one was the Food Research Institute, where I was the scientific secretary and the head of administration for a long time. And I was involved with so many things, developing of performance management plan for the organization, relocation of the organization, leading or part of the leadership of the ISO accreditation, the first in the sub-region to do that. So all that really made me who I am, to understand where I want to be and what I want to do. So, and in addition to that, I consulted for the World Bank and the UN Food and Agriculture Organization as part of my work. So it's a continuous process. My background actually was in the sciences, biochemistry, and it transitioned into, so at times it's surprising when people see me as a professor in a school of business and your background in biochemistry, but that was part of the evolution, my identity, yeah.
And being from the motherland, you know, inshallah, one day I get a chance to go to Africa and I can, explore the many jewels and artifacts and this wisdom of Africa. I look at myself, of course, as African descent. And, I'm very proud to say that and be a part of that. But it's another thing to feel that air.
Yeah.
It's another thing when my feet hit that ground and I'm looking around and I'm seeing ancestors. And I'm seeing people who look just like me, who was born in the land that I'm originally a part of.
Yeah.
By Ghana being the home to over 100 groups and tribes, how was your upbringing being a man from Ghana?
Yeah, to address the first part, as we say, Ghana is the gateway to Africa.
Yes.
Because of its historical importance in the role of the slave trade and everything. It still has all these 13 castles, slave castles there, and the pilgrimage people pay. So that's an interesting aspect. But growing up in Ghana was interesting because it's a very mixed culture. Ghana has different languages, several different tribes. And as we say, one of the good things the first president of Ghana did, why Ghana has not had any of these civil wars and others, was the integration of the tribes. Going to school in different areas, we all go to boarding school. High schools are all mostly boarding schools. So growing up there, you interact with people and that create that sense of diversity. You don't see differences, although times you speak different languages, but you all come together as one because of intermarriages, growing up, and attending my high school, Winneba High School, and my college, University of Ghana, one of the biggest in Africa, and all the people that you interact with, both internationally and then the different people. That gave me that sense of diversity, what it is and what to expect in everywhere I am. So growing up in Ghana was interesting, and coming from a family of 7 boys and 2 girls, 9 siblings, it was always chaos in my house, but it was a beautiful chaos. So,
a beautiful chaos. I like that. And I also like when you said the tribes knew to come together. Because there's nothing wrong with being proud of who you are. There's nothing wrong with standing on your foundation, your tribe, but then it becomes confusion when we lash out and we try to divide and conquer. Yeah. So for y'all to come together, and like you said, for that to be the gateway, because you always hear Ghana welcoming people who's not from Ghana. Yeah. They always shouting out African Americans or African descent or colored or black people, whatever you want to label yourself. They always have that open hand. Yes. So that's a beautiful thing to see.
Yes.
But how would you compare your life in Ghana to your life in America? Because I know just as much as, I know, we not so big on unity here. It's a lot of confusion, misled information, and we have what we have in America. So how would you compare your life to Ghana to America?
Yeah, so there are similarities and differences. Of course, in Ghana too, there are divisions. I mean, although we try all to live together, everybody is you are proud of your ethnicity, and at times it has its attendant negatives like nepotism, tribalism, etc. Similar to what at times you experience here in the United States. More there is not about race; it's about ethnicity, differences in ethnicity, and here it's more about racial divisions. But the difference of growing up in Ghana and living in Ghana is more communal. And I always say that when we're growing up, as it's dark, my mom or dad will not be worried me being out there, so whenever playing soccer or doing anything. But now, even in my safe neighborhood, when my boys are playing, I keep looking out into the window to see whether they are safe, and that's not unique about this place. It's part of maybe development. But in Ghana, it's like everybody. If you are a child, you are everybody's child, and they take care of you. They know where to be. Professionally, there are differences. There are differences, and also the type of upbringing takes us into who we are and even into our professional lives. And upbringing in Ghana is different from what I experience is different from what my children experience here. It has its advantages and disadvantages, as I said. But the difference is that there's more communal living. The sense of community. If you really talk about sense of community, you get it there than you will get it here. Here, you come to work, you interact with everybody, you go home, and that's it. Yeah, somebody cannot just walk into your home. Rao, how are you doing? But you need a phone call, some form of
some
appointment.
type of notice. Yeah.
But there, I can walk into anybody. Hey, what are you doing? Let's do this. I mean, and it's not offensive. It's part of that living. So those are the slight differences, that cultural differences. Yes.
And I know I just noticed you said you keep your your kids. They live in America. Yeah. So what is ways that you make sure you instill that African and Ghana way of life and way state of mind within America? America. Yeah. We only know America.
It's difficult. Yeah, trying to navigate that that duality, instilling, letting them not forget that culture, where you came from and how is it, and their understanding of what global is.
Mm-hmm.
America is
Only America.
That's all America. And you try to explain to them your ancestry, how the whole thing is different, how different people are, and how the multicultural nature of America was not established by America alone, by other people from everywhere coming in. The food we eat are different, so you try to get the local food for them. At times they'll look at it and it's strange to them. I'm not going to eat that. Then, but you keep trying, and then they realize, oh, this is really nice. I want to try it. And you also try to connect them with, like, they talk to their grandmas. My mother-in-law, my mom. They are there, some of my siblings. So to get that interaction, for them to know that it's not about here, but we are in a global community, and you have an ancestry that goes back beyond the borders of North America or anywhere. But it's a challenge, that duality, and even the language is. It's like they cannot speak my language, which is something at times you feel sad about, that you could do that. But it's also not their fault. As in Ghana, like we started, they are different. My wife is from a different tribe, so locally she speaks a different language than I do. So the common language between us, even before here, is English. Although we try, she is quite multilingual, so, but I can speak a language. So the common language growing up is English. Then that's what the kids speak. But at times you feel like, I wish they can speak Fanti like I speak. And at times when you are speaking on phone with your siblings or their grandmother, what are you saying? What did you say? Yeah, those are the differences, some of the things you miss, and I wish as they grow up, they might be able to pick it.
Yeah, definitely, and you definitely doing a righteous job about instilling the culture. Still, it's a legacy, the identity.
Yeah, the identity.
You know, we can't depend on the school system, unfortunately. No. We can't depend on outside sources, especially America, because if you look at the food chain, we obese. A lot of restaurants we got here in other countries, they're banned. A lot of snacks we have here, we can't go nowhere else because they're banned. You see a McDonald's in America, then you see a McDonald's somewhere in Japan. It's totally different landscape because our principles. Yeah. So the fact that you still realize that and you instill in your family, no, try this food. I know you like the Happy Meal, but try this. Try this lamb. Try this goat.
And you try to cook with them, make it fun. Oh, let's do cooking. Then you do like a Ghanaian or West African dish, and because they were part of cooking it, they try it, and at times they get used to it, and it becomes. And fortunately, here it's so cosmopolitan. If you go to New Haven, you will get West African food and others. So you try to go there and introduce them to all those varieties.
Something different. Mm-hmm. I like that. But I also want to highlight the fact, too, that you done did the World Bank. We're going to talk about that. Yeah. The World Bank. I like that title. You know a lot about entrepreneurship, and that's something that I feel like I do each and every day. And I feel like that was something I was doing before I got locked up, before I came to this state, before I even discovered pilot language. I feel like I was involved in entrepreneurship. But for somebody to master it and to teach it, that's something too. And I also want to highlight strategy for the corporation and the business. Cause these are the type of conversations that I feel like we need, because a lot of people in my age group or younger, we're starting to realize and feel that, sometimes I don't gotta wait on Amazon. Yep. Sometimes I ain't gotta wait for McDonald's to call me back. I'm gonna do it myself. If I'm going to work and I'm going to, work for all these hours and communicate all this time, I'm going to do for something I love, because I know I'm going to put my 100% in. Then we got older people, or we got well-vested people like Mr. Robert, and they passing the light. They passing that baton. So, I'm pick your brain for a little bit, brother. Get a little bit of your time. Have some nice little conversations, Bill, with you. And I appreciate you. Who was one of your biggest influence with the art of being an entrepreneur?
Yeah, so entrepreneurship itself, as I always tell people, is a way of life. It's not just, so here in like Quinnipiac, we are not training you just to go and set up your own business or just being an entrepreneur is starting a business. It's training you to be a way of life. And if I say way of life, what I mean is having that skill to be entrepreneurial, to be able to lead your own life, to be able to create, to be able to motivate. And like you started the session with, not to depend solely on other people. Be the master of your own self and also creating things for others. So entrepreneurship, and it's very interdisciplinary. It encompasses being marketing, management, leadership, self-awareness, and a bit of an art of doing things. So it's a very broad area and an interesting field where I think everybody should at least have that. We all have that innate trait of being an entrepreneur, but how do we nurture it? How do we grow it to be self-sufficient? And that's what entrepreneurship is about.
I definitely think it's definitely an art and a skill to be able to market yourself and believe in yourself.
Exactly.
And I remember when COVID hit, I seen from magazines and looking at the news and just hearing people, entrepreneur rates rise up.
Yes.
It rised up. And I remember thinking to myself, well, we've been doing this. The Girl Scout cookies, the lemonade, the snowing, the car wash. This is our, like you said, this is our part of life.
It's all part of life. And how do you manage that? How do you scale it? How do you make it big? And those are all part of it. And the example you gave is very, very true. COVID, when people were making masks in their basement, people were just turning things around because necessity creates that demand, and that's when the entrepreneurial spirit in us evolves. Oh, I can do this. I don't have to wait for somebody to bring me N95. I'm a dressmaker. Why can't I make a mask? It might not meet the full medical standards, but it was very innovative seeing people doing that. Yeah.
And you said hitting it big, doing it big. You've been doing it big yourself, sir. How was your journey with consulting in the World Bank? And can you explain to the people what the World Bank technically is?
World Bank is what is just like the United Nations. Let's say we call them the Bretton Woods institutions. It's institutions that are set up to help nations. So nations can borrow from them. They help with development, and most of the time, it's more to the global south, the developing countries. They give loans, and not everybody is happy with the World Bank. They feel their actions have rather stifled development in some countries, but overall, they've also really helped. My work as consultant with the World Bank was because I was working for the Food Research Institute, which is a big government lab in Ghana. So the World Bank gives, let's say the nation will go and borrow money, but there are conditions. And so this is how you have to implement it. This is how you have to use this money. This is how. So as a consultant, your role is to ensure that, yes, the rules that the World Bank put in place. We have the World Bank, then the IMF. IMF is parallel to the World Bank, the International Monetary Fund. is let's say a cousin of the World Bank, and they give you rules. You can't just go and borrow, like you go and borrow money from the bank and use it how you want. But for the World Bank, it's not like that. You need to operate within their rules, and operating within their rules, you need people to guide that. So consulting for the World Bank, that was it. And they do so many things. My role was in agriculture and food safety.
Agriculture and food safety.
And so how do we implement that? How do you do what the bank wants the nation to do? So that's what I was doing. And it was a big project around, and I had a lot of fun. And it has really helped me with my work as a professor here too. I teach a lot of consulting class, and it's all part of the history from there. Yeah.
Nice. And you said you had the food bank, and you also had the food lab in Ghana.
Yeah, Food Research Institute is a government laboratory where they test food products. They help entrepreneurs to develop product, like food product, agricultural product, food processing. Like there are a lot of farmers, the main thing is farming. So how do you process your food into, let's say, even exportable? You see a lot of like products on the market, even here in the US. You have to go through those laboratories, how to work with them, and standardization, whether you are meeting the international standards for it to be exported, and to teach, and also teaching people how to do their move the indigenous processing and add on the more value-added aspect of it, the science of it into it. So that was the role of the Food Research Institute, and that's where I worked for a long time before coming to the United States.
What would you say be the most important thing that woke you up each and every day to go do that, working in the food lab?
It is the humanity in general. A farmer will do all this work, grow, let's say, tomatoes, and because the market is not ready for it, it will all go rotten. They will lose. But if you are teaching them to value add, how to store it, how to process it, and store it even indigenously, is good. And also helping, educating people on food safety issues.
Yes.
How not to get E. coli infection, how not to do how to keep the food safe. And it was an exciting thing to do, and that's what motivates you to do. You know what you are doing, you enjoy it, and at the same time, you are helping your fellow citizens. So
definitely, we need food.
You can't live without food.
You can't live without
food. And the sad thing is, like, people go, if you take this country, a lot of people go hungry every day. Meanwhile, we waste more food. More food go into waste than it will feed other people. So why can't we, with all our ingenuity, why can't we manage that? Why is it that we throw away so much food, and at the same time, so many of our citizens go to bed hungry?
Hungry, starving. We advance in technology, but we can't advance in a way to make sure nobody go to sleep not hungry. People not diving off starvation.
Not that we don't have it. We are throwing some away. The food waste that occur is huge. So you can't run your head around it. That how we have so much food, we waste so much food, but at the same time, people go to bed hungry.
And then you look at McDonald's. We're going on McDonald's right now with the E. coli and the quarter pounder.
Yeah.
And that's supposed to be one of the realest burgers. And then you think about it, in the neighborhoods, you got all these bodegas.
Yes.
And then you got to go to the outskirts to go to Whole Foods. You got to go to the main point where it's owned by nobody who really don't want you in there, in the independent market. Yeah. We got to go so much and climb so many stages to eat and survive the right way. Because that process is in everything.
Yes.
Yeah, you've been helping a lot. You've been helping a lot, brother.
That boy is good.
I got a question though, cause at my job, I'm a manager at my job. I'm a supervisor. So of course, I manage over people. I provide insight. I do leadership. I'm doing all these type of things. And coming from your point of view or your input, what would you say be the common mistake for new managers, and how can this be avoided? Because stepping into that stage, it can be kind of nervous, especially if you was a co-worker at first and then you become a manager. Now you got to deal with the pressure of like, oh man, I don't want to think I'm trying to play him, or I don't want to be, the enemy one day and I was his friend last week. So many things I think that race into somebody when it comes to leadership, because you always want to make sure when you leading and you're providing this insight, you're doing it in the best fashion. But it's always going to be the learning pains.
Yeah, so that is very important. There are both internal and external factors which create that initial mistakes we are talking about. First of all is the a bit of am I good enough? Am I good enough to be here? So you start getting that fear that maybe I'm not even.
That self-doubt.
Yes, and that self-doubt, that imposter syndrome, that maybe this person would have been better than me, so how do I manage him? So first you have to just overcome that imposter syndrome, that I'm not so good. You are good. They saw something in you, that's why they put you there. So that self-belief, self-awareness is the first stage of being a good manager. And also understanding that there's differences between being a manager and being a leader. You can't be a successful supervisor, a manager, without being a leader. So you need that. Management is day-to-day arrangement. Oh, you have to come to work. This is your work schedule. It's very technical. Leadership is more of skill. Is to do more with the human aspects of your work. Apart from the management, somebody comes to work late. Why is the person late? Because you are manager. You are fired. Why are you late? There should be some human aspect. Yes, you can't allow people to be late to work always, but you should first understand what caused the person to be that before you bring your management hat in. That, this is what you do. How do you do it better next time? You know that if this continued, you can be fired. That's more human face of approaching. That's adding leadership to that management and supervisory role you have than just using the authority giving. You just don't start with the authority giving that because I'm the supervisor and a manager, you are late. Maybe the person was involved in an accident when coming, or there's something that happened. Try to understand the cause, and also make sure you are firm that because this every time because I have that human face to it, you take advantage of it. No, you should understand that there are rules that govern the workplace. If you are not here, work is not going on. So as I said, to be a good supervisor, to be a good manager, you should be a good leader.
Yes.
First of all, and some of the pitfalls are people, like we said, trying to exert too much power and control. Try to be more of collaborative than being authoritarian, that this is because my role is this. I don't have to feel, so everybody should go by what it means. So those are the things that actually make people feel as managers, when you don't understand that management is different from leadership, but you need leadership to be a good manager.
I like that, because when you said that, something just popped in my head. I remember a long time ago, somebody sat me down. They told me, they said, an argument is not so much about who's right and who's wrong, about coming to an agreement. Yeah. Like you said, hearing the person out. Yeah. Not so barking so much orders. Barking. It's not about who's right and who's wrong. It's about, okay, this is where we at. How can we get to the next point? And then I like that self-awareness. Yeah. That self-awareness means Because from this, the little jobs I had and this dealing with entrepreneurship and just dealing with people, period, you can kind of tell the people who lack, well, to me, in my vision, the people who lack self-awareness, they don't want to just barking out. But the person who believe in themselves, they're leading.
Yes.
Because they know how to lead themselves.
Yeah.
So now they can help others and tap into their greatness.
Yes.
So I like how you put that.
Yes.
Because I see that.
He's heating up.
People like that have high emotional intelligence because they believe in themselves. And believing in yourself translate to others. When you have that inferiority complex, that's when you want to back at people, try to prove that, yeah, I am this guy, this is what I want to do. And it all starts because of lack of self-awareness. Yeah.
So I want to ask you about strategy management. What exactly is strategy management?
So strategic management is the comprehensive process of formulating, implementing, and evaluating cross-functional decisions. Of course, this is the professor talking now.
Perfect.
Which enables organization to be efficient. So when we talk about strategic management in general, it encompasses so many things. How do you evaluate the performance of your organization, of the team, and of the individuals? How do you put processes in place, financial resources, everything else in between to make the organization effective? So the end result of strategic management is organizational effectiveness, making the organization effective, having the broad overview of everything that occurs in it, the functional areas, finance, marketing, sales, everything. And how do you bring all those things together to make the organization effective? So that's a strategic management, and it's a broad, encompassing area.
So looking at that whole chessboard, kind of making sure you got everything positioned so it can move like Voltron. It can move as one.
Yes.
What would be a common example of that in, let's say, just the average workplace? What type of like skills or traits do that person have to tap into that type of management? Because just by your example that you're saying, that's a powerful mindset. And that's a mindset that not only, of course, keep you at the job, but that's a mindset to have you climbing the ladder. Because now you're beneficial. It's hard to replace somebody who's always in mind of, not only can I get myself right, but can I get this part outside of me right and make it move? So what type of character traits or what type of like mindset this person had to tap into this?
People who are always ready to learn. And learning doesn't mean always being at school or going for training or development. Learning from other people, learning from mentors, learning from examples, even learning from people you are supervising, people behind you, and everybody else within the organization. You should understand that without the janitors, without the cleaners, this will not function. And how does all this system work? You don't just see things by a tunnel vision, but it should be a whole systemic approach to everything you do. And doing that, you have to learn because you don't know everything. So if you don't know something, you shouldn't be afraid to ask. You shouldn't be afraid to learn from people, even people your supervisors or people below you, to learn further. So by understanding what the rules of everybody doing, that's why remote work is important. But we say that the coffee table and other things create more interaction and more learning. You don't understand somebody at lunch or a small break. You try to understand. Oh, so what's your role? What do you do? And it's conversation, but at the same time you are learning. So if you open yourself to that learning, it gives you that trait. People who are very collaborative. You don't have to be what was the word? You can be
a social butterfly.
Yeah, but or you are not a social butterfly, but you should be able to get into conversation. Part of leadership is being able to start a conversation with somebody, learn about what they do, understand the roles they play, so that if you get the higher you move, you understand the rules of what everybody does. People who just rise through just eternal understanding because of maybe their credentials and everything and get them up there and haven't interacted with other people working, they lack that overall vision, and that's when things start getting difficult. But if you understand everybody, oh, this is what this guy does, this is the role they play, this is how it contributes to how the organization works, that makes you a good strategic manager. You understand things. And you also have to read the external factors. What is affecting our company? How do we see ourselves in 2 years? Be a forward thinker. That in 2 years, where do I see myself, and where do I see myself within this organization? So by being a broad thinker, you and understanding everybody's role a bit gives you a broader vision and understanding of what you have to do, and it helps in moving you forward.
I like that. Because too much self-awareness and that ego, you become blind. Nobody can tell you nothing. You know it all. Yeah. But everybody learn. Even the teacher has to learn sometimes.
Something, yes.
I like that.
Yeah. By the end of the semester, we all learn from our teacher. You learn a lot, yeah.
But that sounds like corporation strategy. Yeah. So for the business ones and the entrepreneurs and the freelancers, the business strategy, what is the difference between the corporation strategy and the business strategy?
But the corporate strategy is the big overall goal, what you forecast to be, looking ahead. And when it comes to like small business, the business entrepreneur and other things, it's more of the business strategy. How do I keep myself afloat? How do I plan? But it is important that even if you are a very small one-man business, you should have a plan. You shouldn't do things as they come. There should be some plan. There should be some focus. Every business should have a business plan. That's why in entrepreneurship, one of the biggest things we do is to teach students or prospective entrepreneurs how to have a business plan. How do I plan? What are the income? How do I manage it? Even borrowing, if you are going to borrow, there should be some plan with it. So that business plan is important for everybody, and I think it's something that should be taught from high schools.
Yes.
Just money management in general is really important, and that's something we lack in our K-12 curriculum. Yeah, some school districts have it, but it's not as robust as it should be. Yeah. We should create that entrepreneurial mindset from the word go. We do part of it, like we're talking about the lemonade stands and others. But how do we incorporate that extracurricular into the classroom business? Bring it, you did that, so write an essay on how you manage it. What did you use the money for? How did you get the money? To get them going. Instill that entrepreneurial spirit in them right from the word go.
Exactly. My son's 11 years old, and he was washing cars when he was 9 years old and charging people.
Exactly.
But it's not taught in school.
No.
My son wants to work, but he's not old enough to work yet. But like you said, they're not instilling these type of things for a young kid at that state because they're young and they're so open and fluid. Why not properly train them from when they become the next leader? Yeah,
so the money you get, Joe, how are you going to increase this money? What next are you going to do? This money you've got, what do? You have to put it in, you can put it in savings, it bills on it. You check. So those are the things you instill in them right from the beginning, and they know how it is. And because he's working for it, he understands the value of the money. Because it's not easy washing the car to just get that small thing. And how to manage it is really important, and that's where we have to bridge the two. Yeah.
So what would be five months for up and coming business owner or entrepreneur?
First, self-discipline. Understand that you can fail. And failure is not the end. It's just the beginning of what is supposed to be. You won't see a single entrepreneur who just got it and it is. There'll be failures along the way, but you should understand that failure is the beginning of something big. You learn from it and to do things better. And also, I said about discipline, then understanding your environment, what you are in, and being very collaborative with others. You can't do it all. Seek the help of others and try to find strategic partnerships. Not big partnership because you are one man, but somebody who can be even a mentor, somebody you can run things by. That this is what I'm doing. What do you think it should be? You shouldn't expect that every advice will help you get along, but you get a broader perspective, understand the stakeholders you are dealing with. So those are some of the things you really need to understand. Where am I? Where do I want to be? And what do I need to get me to where I want to be? And I should understand that the things I need to get to where I want to be, there will be stumbles on the way. And if they come, they will come. But if they come, how do I handle it? How do I handle that failure? That's the biggest block. Somebody, he has all these fantastic ideas. You are going to do this. They start it and then go well, and they give up. As an entrepreneur, you don't give up.
The 3 months go by, they're like, I'm not viral yet. now they done. Now they done.
And try and don't be dogmatic about things. You try something that didn't work. It doesn't mean that something else will not work. Try to be innovative. Okay, we should do this. And also be very, like I said, understand your environment. What are the needs? What do people need? Or what can be done better? This is all this. And can we get a way to shorten the time people spend going to the car shop or what other time? I mean, all these examples, and you should know that the biggest thing is that failure is not the end.
Failure is not the end.
Yeah.
I can speak on that very well. I remember I had Pilot Language back in 2011. It was a blog. So I was doing up-and-coming artists. I was doing fashion. And, just highlighting people I felt that needed more praise within my city and down south. I'll go away for a little bit. So I'm talking about 14 and 15. I'm calling home, asking people, are they checking on the website? They saying they are. I'm calling somebody else. They're saying they not. So it comes to a point, like you said, it's like, you know what? I got to sit here. Came back 2020. I was 31. I turned 33 years old on my birthday. I said, you know what? I'm going to stop saying what I could have did with Pilot Language, and I'm going to just rebuild it. And I'm going to start really just, like you said, writing down. I'm going to start just making sure this is what structure going to be. This is going to be the new identity, and this is how I'm going to carry it. And, I'm 34 now. And we got episodes, we got a website, we got merch. So like you said, failure is just not the last answer. Yes, no. It's the answer to you to wake up and tighten up, but it doesn't have to be the last answer. It's always room to rebuild.
Yeah, it shouldn't be the full stop, no.
What was your toughest failure? What was something that kind of like shook your world for a little bit, but you was like, you know what? I'm going to get back. Robert going to get back.
When I came here first, I came after I've traveled. I came to the US after I've traveled to about 52 countries, and I thought I know everything. I mean, I've been everywhere.
Let him cook.
And I have my masters. I already have masters and other things. Then I started a masters and PhD program, masters and. What have I done? I really want to go back. I had my life, and now look at me. Even look at this small room and all the difficulties. And it was in Minnesota in January, and all this snow, cold, -30, -40. And I was asking myself, what is it? And that thing was a bit depressive, so it was affecting my academic. Then when I realized that you came here for a purpose.
Mhm.
So why did you do that? It wasn't a failure, but it was a wake-up call because of just looking back. So one of the things that is difficult is always looking back at, oh, I was doing this better. You don't look back. Yes, the back has to inform the future, but don't just look back and think that, oh, the previous was better. Try to achieve what is better than before ahead of
Exactly.
you. And also, another thing I said, I wish when I was 15, my teenage years, I wish I had listened to my dad more. These days, I wish this man is here to really talk to him. Yeah, and I always look at, when you are growing around, when you are a teenager, you think you know it.
Oh,
better.
man.
This. In my 50s now, I wish that he's here to at times tell me that, oh, I think this, don't do this, do that. And that's something I keep telling my boys that it's a regret I have, that I should have listened more to Daddy during those formative years. Some of the things I would have done, I wouldn't have if I've really paid good attention. So,
That's right. That looking back.
yeah.
That looking back can be scary.
Looking back can be scary and can be depressing too.
Yes.
Yes. But we can't forget our past.
Mhm.
But the past has to help us to achieve brighter things, good things in the future. If I've been able to withstand all this, how can't I even be better going forward? Yeah.
Do you think that'd be one of the toughest things when you be teaching the students, or you just teaching people, period, far as like the business owners and the entrepreneurs, like don't look back, like try not so much to be tricked, being in your head, and because that's like you said, you gotta. I'm really proud of my past, and I really acknowledge my past, and I study my past. But I know it's certain things within my past that I try to compare to now. Sometimes I get tricked off. I remember back in the day, my YouTube ratings to where my YouTube ratings now. It'll be the little things like that, and the overall just keep playing and playing. I gotta think about it. I was like, well, damn, what I'm not doing. But like you said, I just gotta know it's a process. So you think that's one of the toughest thing, because that's a mental warfare right there.
We always fight with the inner being. It's like there's two things always struggling within us. We all have some that dual nature. One side always trying to feed you the negative, then the other side trying to feed you the positive. But we should always let the positive overshadow the negative. It doesn't mean don't listen to those, because they are also triggers. They are triggers that will alert you that, oh, this same thing is happening again. It shouldn't. But we shouldn't. The power of positive thinking is really important. Even if that negative thought, we are all humans. Negative thought will flood through your heads, but we should try to be have that positive thinking than the negative one. And it's for an entrepreneur, that's what you should do. Even when the finances are tanking, that no, I can turn this thing around. This is not the first time this has happened to anybody, and if people could do it, why can't I?
Why can't I?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So those positive attitudes is really important. Yeah.
Positive attitudes is everything. Because, I think sometimes when we do fall into them negative thoughts, or we get into them doubtful situations, I like to look at it sometimes, maybe that's your pause. Yeah. Maybe that's your pause to realize, okay, what is going on that's triggering you right now that you done did before? So then I go to my positive thinking, and I think about something that I did before, like maybe a speech I did, or maybe an episode I did, or just a win. When was the moment that, you started to notice that, I can really do this consultant, I can really do this entrepreneur, I can really do this strategy, I can really map out and really elevate and win myself? What was that one moment you knew, like, all right, I got this?
Yeah, so, like, as I said, my background was in biochemistry, working in the lab and other things. And one day the head of HR retired, and the director of the institute came to me and said, you have to act as the head of admin for something. I thought the man was mad. A scientist working in the lab. What do you expect me to do as HR? So I thought it was a joke. But he was serious, Professor Plaha. Said, no, I'm serious about that. You have to do this. What do you... I said, no, I don't think it's possible. I have no training, I have no background in HR or to do that. So yeah, we are all working with scientists. So I think scientists will listen to scientists more. So get on ahead. Just then he left. Then I started, all those negative things started flooding. I don't think I'm good enough to do this. Then there was the awareness. Okay, that's why you have to read and try and follow what is up there. I started doing it, and I started getting excited about it. And that led me to the management school to come here, do another master's, and change from a biochemist to a management professor. But that trigger, which all of a sudden came over me, that no, that I'm not good enough, that I'm imposter, I can't do it. When that negativity went and something aroused in me that I can do it, it changed the trajectory of my life. So it's always, we should have that can-do spirit and saying yes. One thing I've learned from somebody like the president of this university, Judy Olean, is saying,
shout out to Miss Judy.
Everybody talks, the advice they give is learn to say no. But hers is learn to say yes. So I asked her, why do you say that? Everybody say, yeah, try to be out there, that boundary spanning. It doesn't mean you should let it affect your life, personal life and things. But don't go with the negative, go with the positive. Try to say yes. It's not everything you should do. So that's another thing that has really inspired me to do the things I do. Try to say yes rather than learn to say no. The advice, the default advice has been, oh, you're doing too much, learn to say no. I said, learn to say yes. And if you can't do it, you can't do it. But it's better to learn to say yes than to learn to say no. So that I find that as a very, very powerful thing. Yeah.
And it's powerful when you on your mission and you just following your goals and you executing, and somebody else see that shining light in you.
Yeah.
And while you just, while we going, and then somebody stop you, like, you know what, you need to be here. I know you here, but you need to be here. They see that light, you be like, what were you talking about? But they see that light in you. That's power. And he also said something about books. I remember, books is one of my favorite hobbies now. It wasn't always one of my favorite hobbies, but it's one of my favorite hobbies. I feel like I got so much information that I didn't get from the school, as far as business and strategy and entrepreneurship and freelancing, this in history. I got that so much in books than I got it in school. So what would be some books that you would like to offer insight into the mindset of a balanced management practices? Because there's a lot of practices. Yeah. So what would be some books that would kind of, help, young mind?
I always say, try to read everything. It broadens your knowledge. Go back to older books. Try to read everything. Don't discard books. As a leader, the more you read, even not within the realm of your field, like leadership or everything, try to understand the popular literature out there. Read. So to a long answer to your question, I wouldn't be able to recommend any book, but very important authors I would like as a leader, I would say everybody should read The Fifth Discipline.
The Fifth Discipline?
Yes. But he's one of the leading thinkers when about systemic, if you really want to understand systemic issues, how to look at things from various system issues. And those are some of the some things I would recommend. What's his name? It's Peter Senge. The author is Peter Senge.
Peter.
Yeah, like if you are talking about, it's an older book, but it's very interesting.
You got a lot of wisdom in
You
it.
got a lot of what is the fifth discipline? You talk about all those. You talk about systemic issues, systems thinking, theory, and everything.
As far as like how to tackle the problems and
Everything, and how to see things not just by tunnel vision, by more of a collective, systemic, holistic view of things.
Nice. I like that. How can companies balance long-term strategy planning with the need for short-term goals?
Yeah, so that's why you need strategic flexibility. What we call strategic flexibility analysis. You create your long-term goal, and it depends on. There's a lot of cultural context to it too. If you take the companies from especially Asia, China, for example, you talk about long-term goal, they will look at 50 years. In the United States, when you talk a corporate long-term goal, it's 5 years.
Your short is 3. Yeah.
So that cultural context is there. In Japan, especially in China, they can plan over 100 years.
Yeah.
That's the Confucianist approach to leadership they have. In the U.S., after 5 years, that whatever they have, they don't say it. So, coming back to your question, and looking at that cultural context, the day-to-day running, like we started with, the business strategy is the day-to-day, and the corporate strategy is more the long-term, where most companies in the West, you would say the 5 years. It should be aligned. They shouldn't be two separate things. That business strategy should work towards that corporate strategy. It should inform where we want to be in 5 years. And there should be measurements, like every 3 months or so. How are we doing? And how are we going towards that plan we have? And it should be flexible. So, or as we call, more agile or adaptive. Companies that were had strategic flexibility plans survive better during COVID or during disasters in general, because they are able to move into another stream. I mean, to do things differently, be more flexible. Even investors, some investors find it so difficult during the COVID to transition to online learning and others, and more flexible investors like I might be biased, like Quinnipiac, was slightly easy compared to others. And so as a company, to balance your business, your short-term strategy with your long-term plans, you have to be strategically flexible. You have to be very adaptive. And being adaptive means you have adaptive leaders who are not dogmatic, leaders who are able to see what sunk cost is. At times we've put so much into something that we don't want to change. Even if the thing is not going well, we've put so much money in it, so we keep sinking in more money. But you have to be adaptive and flexible, and that's how you balance the two.
Do you think our 5-year plan, really makes sense for the overall run? Because like you said, China, they do it 50. You think about where you from, you teach from a young, your identity, your core, your values. You come to America, we teach ourselves that. So you think the 5 years kind of makes sense, or?
It has its advantages and its disadvantages as well. Each one has its competitive advantage. But now, I would say the 5-year plan, you have to balance it, because things change so much. Depending on what you are doing. If you have a technology plan 5 years ago, by 2022, ChatGPT alone disrupted everything. Although AI was there already, but then just an application of AI ChatGPT in was it December 2022 or 2021 disrupted everything. So if you have this 5-year plan, you've not really incorporated into it. But if you have a flexible plan, something that is adaptable, it's easy to really adapt and incorporate it into the plan, because it's not a static plan, it's a living document that can be amended and changed. So to your question, yes, it has its advantages, especially when you are looking at some contexts like technology and others. But when you are looking at in a broader, let's say, national policy interests and things, at times the long-term goals are even also very important. The plan is, let's say the Chinese will go to have space things in that. They didn't just start it, they plan it years ahead. How do we beat that competition, etc. So both have its advantages and disadvantages, but I think with this when it comes to technology, the 5-year plans are very important. In 5 years the plans are outdated, because within the next 5 years we don't know how even AI is going to change everything. So you've made a plan. So the important thing is to make the plan more flexible.
Do you think, because I talked about this, behind the scenes, and I talked about this with Joe. Shout out to Joe in the building. And I talked about this with Joe, AI, right? You think about AI, they put AI as far as being your maid with Tesla. They're going to make sure AI be working in the stores so less people had to come to work. So do you think AI would be a best friend to us? Can you think about chat? Like you said, you could type anything in the chat. So the entrepreneur in the art form is kind of getting, to me, it kind of looking diluted. It's going to separate two groups, if you ask me. So do you think the AI would be an entrepreneur best friend, or you think the AI would be one of our biggest enemies?
I think it will be our best friend. And we've seen it over the years. Technological transformation and how it is. I remember Joe was not in the world at then. But, when ATM were coming, the noise that make that, we are going to lose banking, everybody is going to go. There were protests that ATM is going to work, and how do you go to the bank, and this, just ATM. But we see how useful it's been. We still have tellers in the bank working, and there are other examples. If you go further, I remember, I've forgotten the name of the president, one American president, when they were building the railways, said, how should we build the rail? It's going to destroy our lands, kill our people, rail lines. So every technological innovation comes with that fear, which is important. I mean, there should be guardrails. So, and the same thing is happening with AI. The important thing is to, as entrepreneurs, how do you take advantage of it? How do you cut out the things that were delaying things that we do? How should it make us more innovative? That's why I keep telling my student that you can't stop students from using ChatGPT or LLMs, but teach them how to be good at querying like ChatGPT, putting the right questions, because garbage in, garbage out.
Yeah, garbage, yeah.
Teaching them how to, because if you are coding, if you are a marketing student or a star student, now Python, I can tell a ChatGPT to give me a Python code to be able to do this, and it will give it to me. So what's the importance of the professor then? But the role is now to understand why this is and how to query that. Anybody who stops students from using it or teaching them to use it well is disabling them, because you go to the world out there and that is what is happening. You can't be writing the code yourself, whilst the AI can do it for you. And the same way entrepreneurs should learn. I don't need somebody to do my balance sheet for me. I can take AI to do it, and I'll use that extra time to do other things. It saves me money. So as an entrepreneur, if I have extra money, I can do something more. So I believe it will be a friend. There are dangers around it. There are bad actors who can use it for so many other things. But that is it with everything. Technology, nuclear energy, nanotechnology, synthetic biology, etc. It all has its dangers. But we should look at it, the positive side, and build on it.
Yeah, because I like technology. I like all the Apple products. I like chat. And, I feel like you said we can make it work for us and be beneficial. Why not? It's moving with time. It helps us move more faster at a faster pace. Yeah. I'm all for it. I just don't want the human contact to be eliminated.
Yes.
Because if I'm an independent writer and I write for magazines, but you can go to chat or you can go to AI writer, you might not really need me no more because it's going to be cheaper to go with them. That's always my biggest fear. Yeah, just make sure the human contact stay alive within all the technology.
But I can give you two same prompts that write an essay on this. Use ChatGPT. Maybe his will come out better than mine. The same prompt that we gave is because of how he
worded it.
Yes, worded it, re-prompted it, re-asked those questions. So that critical thinking aspect is what we have to teach students about use, and that's the human element of it. That's why the human element will not be lost. So those who would understand how to really prompt it, how to really use it, will be better of it because it's there. People will use it, but then how do you make it sensible? How does it flow? And you being the writer, you understand it better. How does it flow? How do I prompt it? How do I make it better? Those are the differences. I tell students, on chat, you can still use ChatGPT, but some get 95, 98, others get 40, 50. I said because of the way they prompted it. But I won't stop them from using it. You are disabling them because they go to the workplace and that is what is there. The CEOs are using it. Everybody is using it. So why do you stop them?
Make it work for you.
Make it work for them. Understand it. Don't let them use to cheat. But let them understand that this is how you use it. And before you can do that, be ahead of them. The unfortunate thing is that the survey in higher education realized that the small students are even ahead of some of the faculty. So that's where that gap needs to be closed. Yeah.
Thank you, brother.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming and spreading all your wisdom, your insight, and your great business type. Before we go, we can go off one word, or we can have one affirmation. What would it be?
Don't be scared of failure.
Don't be scared.
Yeah, and learn to say yes.
And learn to say yes. That's a complete. They say no is a complete sentence.
Yeah, but yes. That's a plagiarized one from. I should add that. Yes, but yes, learn to say yes.
Learn to say yes.
Yes, it gives you that boundary spanning. People get to know you. People understand you. Learning to say yes doesn't mean you are always going to do everything everybody asks. But the instinct is not to learn to say no. That's negative. Rather, learn to be positive. Learn to say yes. Yeah.
Thank you, brother.
Thank you.
I appreciate that. This is Pilot Language. My name is Ra. This is new merch on my head, as y'all can see. This is a new nice hat that will be on the market pretty soon. Let everybody see it real quick. Thank you, Joe. And thank you. Peace. Thank you so much for tapping in. I hope you enjoyed this episode just as much as we did. And I want to send a special shout out to Robert. I appreciate you, brother. Thank you so much for coming down here and sharing your history, sharing your life, sharing your success, your setbacks. And thank you, brother, so much for stopping down here and sharing your favorite answer to say when it's time for opportunity. Yes. And I want to say yes to my brother Michael Vick. Shout out to Michael Vick. Shout out to Michael Vick because not only is he doing something incredible right now, and he's bringing another chapter of football into his life, he's giving back to that community. He gonna make sure there's gonna be a lot of jobs in his hometown. He gonna make sure that an HBC called Norfolk State University, a lot of times with these HBCs, what they always asking for? Grants. What they always begging for? Money. What's always getting shut down? These courses, because they don't got enough money to pay for them. But if you bring somebody down there like Michael Vick, who's gonna be the head football coach, not only are you bringing more revenue, more jobs, you bringing greater assets to your college. Think about it. Michael Vick ain't no slow leak. I'm talking about the #1 draft pick by the Atlanta Falcons. I'm talking about somebody that went to college at Virginia Tech. Virginia Tech, his rookie year, they went undefeated. The next year, they went 11-1. In that year they went 11-1, he had an ankle injury. He still went 11-1 going out.
Damn, son.
When this man came into the football league, when that man hit them bright lights, we never seen that before in our life. When you think about your traditional quarterback, they stay in that pocket. They don't move too much, and they got a strong arm. Now, true indeed, Michael Vick, he didn't invent scrambling. He invented a new way to look at the quarterback. He invented prime time in real time.
Let him cook.
You think about Cam Newton. You think about my boy Lamar Jackson. You think about RG3. They all had a blueprint. Russell Wilson. They all came from Michael Vick. When Michael Vick got that charge, right? When Michael Vick had to sit down and do that time, because his cousin, the same one he took care of, the same one he looked after, the same one he put in position each and every time and took him out of the hood, that same cousin got caught. He got caught with some weed. And instead of being a man, instead of taking responsibility of his own actions, what he do? What he do? Take down the money tree. Take down the person that was having your family going to another wealth. Having opportunities not only bless his kids, but your kids and his grandkids. And you took it away because you couldn't handle something that you chose to do. This man get locked up. He lose everything. They burning his jerseys. They doing riots. They acting like he just the worst scum of the earth. But just a couple weeks ago, his cleats was selling out. Not too long ago, that was your favorite football player. And that was the only person you played on Madden with. I know I did. Won every time. But now, he's your worst enemy. So when he come home and he's still getting this hate mail, he owned up to what he did. He served his time. He paid his debt. But you still hate him. He get back into the football league. He go to the Eagles. He do all right. He do all right with the Eagles. But now, instead of you ending the story that he did all right with the Eagles and them dogs, make sure you add that he's a football coach in his own community that he's about to rebuild. Make sure you add that he about to teach all these young men that come from the same neighborhood as him how to be the best quarterback and the best football player he knows how to be. We talking about a Hall of Famer. We talking about somebody who could have went to another school. That wasn't his only choice. But the fact that he chose to live in his backyard, he came from his backyard, now he gonna rebuild his backyard. I gotta respect that. I gotta shout out that. I appreciate that. Cause we need to see more of that. I ain't telling nobody to live in the hood for the rest of their life. I'm telling you to rebuild though. Rebuild though, cause you're not gonna be the only person that lived in the hood. So we have an opportunity to get back and rebuild this structure so it can be more beneficial to everybody who has to be there. Why not? Shout out to you, Vic. Shout out to you, brother. I can't wait to see that game on TV. I can't wait to pull up. VA right there. I can't wait. This is Powder Language. My name is Ra. Peace and blessings.
Diesel.
Pilot.